Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books, and I've been covering Disney very closely these last several months. There's a lot of problems going on over at Disney, whether it's the Marvel's trailer and the negative reactions it's getting, or Ron DeSantis, who's actually done a decent job of trying to get Disney under control. Not a great job in his state of Florida, but it looks like even he has figured out how to hold Disney accountable and make problems for them in Disney World. Of course, they have massive layoffs at Disney, and a leaked memo has just kind of revealed Disney's new finance structure as more layoffs have been looming, with a reported 15% of entertainment staffers to be cut. You know, when you cut these entertainment staffers, part of that is because you have duplicated jobs. You don't really need multiple people doing kind of the same jobs. So you consolidate, you lay off. I think there's going to be much more consolidation over at Disney because it's something they can kind of get away with. There's no reason for them to not be doing it. And the strangest thing about Disney is, and when I tell you it's strange, I've been around. I haven't been around forever, but really in these last 10 years or so, to see a company that's not focused on making money. They're focused on pushing their progressive values, which keep getting pushed further and further and further along into God knows what they have in mind. It's a very strange thing to behold. It's not like they're focusing on, okay, this is what our customers want, so we will do more of what our customers want because, hey, we're in this business to make money. When you're in the business to make money, you just kind of basically do whatever the customers want and then do whatever works, whatever makes money. This is not what Disney has been doing for several years. So of course, The Marvels now with Brie Larson has become the most disliked MCU trailer on YouTube. This is coming from the great Cosmic Book News. We will get into this article and a couple of other ones. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. The channel's been going great. It's all because of you guys. Thank you so much. Kevin Feige is having a major problem on his hands as the Captain Marvel sequel is not off to a good start. Of course, The Marvels was supposed to be Captain Marvel 2, and then for some reason they decided, you know what, let's throw more characters in there. It looks like they're trying to protect the franchise. There's not a lot that they can do. People really don't like the Marvels, and that's the problem. Now, woke media has been criticizing, quote, trolls, end quote, who are trying to destroy the Marvels. They're trying to say the Marvels is a great film. You should really give it a chance because there are all women in it. By definition, just because you put women in a film and you decide that women are going to be superheroes, it doesn't necessarily mean that people have to like what you've done. They still need to, on a merit basis, produce something that looks compelling. Most of us have seen the Marvels trailer. If you haven't seen it, just type the Marvels into YouTube. You'll get to see the trailer. It only takes a few minute or two to see what it is, and you can judge for yourself if you like it. It's not compelling. It's not good. That's what their problem is. That's why they have all the dislikes. The Marvels trailer starring Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris, and Iman Vellani is now the most disliked MCU trailer on YouTube. Less than a week ago, they had pointed out how the trailer was the second most disliked Marvel trailer, following She-Hulk as the worst. The Marvels trailer is the most disliked MCU trailer of all time. The amount of dislikes also now outweighs the number of likes, per the official Marvel YouTube channel. Woke media attacks fans for disliking the Marvels trailer. It probably didn't help that following the article in Cosmic Book News, Rolling Stone baited fans with a woke spin on his article with the headline, Brie Larson's The Marvels already has MCU fanboys in their feelings, with an excerpt adding, just say you hate women and leave honestly. The article was destroyed by fans on Twitter, and the article basically was stating if you don't like the Marvels trailer, you're a woman hater. Of course, it could be that the trailer is complete garbage and didn't offer anything exciting about the movie, and it's more of the same goofy content that fans have been put off by as of late, similar to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which completely bombed at the box office. More woman haters, right? Calling fans names for not liking the trailer also brings up what happened with the release of the first movie with Brie Larson, white dude comments, Samuel L. Jackson's political comments, and rumors that Brie Larson didn't get along with the Endgame cast, all of which certainly hasn't helped with Brie Larson's image or the likability of Captain Marvel. Is Brie Larson unhappy? Of course she's unhappy. Rumors also offer all kinds of problems with the Marvels, as it's claimed that Brie Larson isn't happy, and rightfully she shouldn't be. Brie Larson is an Oscar winner, and she starred in Captain Marvel that made over $1 billion, and she went on to be featured in Avengers Endgame, one of the biggest movies of all time. However, Kevin Feige stripped the sequel of the Captain Marvel title, and arguably Teyonah Parris now looks to be the star, with Brie Larson and Carol Danvers as the second fiddle and potentially out the door. As said many times in the past, imagine if Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Spider-Man sequels were stripped of their respective character titles. Heck, even Ant-Man has been given 3 movies. Although Ant-Man wasn't really featured as the main character in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And that's the problem with the sequels. They just don't want to focus on character when they're doing Marvel movies and they're doing Marvel sequels. This is impossible. You can't just say, hey, it's got a Marvel label on it, so people will watch it anyway. It doesn't matter if the character is not really featured in the movie like they did with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. If you follow my channel, you know that I've been outraged by it. I was actually out in the city meeting with another comic book editor friend of mine, and I was going home on the train, and I wound up talking to some strangers. I had a leather jacket on. For some reason, they thought I was a construction worker. I don't know. They started asking questions like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? So I explained comics, and then we started talking. They had seen the films, and I started talking about how, look, you know, they've destroyed sequels. They've destroyed stories. They've destroyed these characters, particularly in Black Panther, which was a breakthrough project. They took away the father and son relationships of the people that went to go see the movie. It was really disastrous. People agree, even random strangers on the train. Marvel has destroyed its franchises and destroyed its characters. Of course, people are not going to like the trailers. Of course, they're not going to like what they're doing. And it's not enough that progressives decide, oh, we want to adopt and control these stories. We want to destroy lead male characters. So you need to like what it is that we're doing. It's not winning over the public. It's not winning over fans, and it's not winning over the public, at least per my train ride. The Marvels is weak. The flick also directed by Nia DaCosta, who didn't direct the first Captain Marvel movie and who's basically a newbie with no directorial experience, directing large budgeted movies with heavy action and intensive CGI. What's Kevin Feige thinking behind this? Did it work for Eternals? This is an incredible thing that you would never think would be possible. Any professional studio, why would they hire inexperienced people to direct very important feature films with huge budgets? It makes no sense. It's great to give people opportunity. I always love the opportunity to give people chances with their first published comics work. But when we did it with my publishing companies, we always did it in a way that was controlled. So if somebody couldn't deliver, it was easy to fix. But you can't pick like a crucial project and put somebody new on it and take that kind of a chance. You really can't do that because the results are going to be bad. You need experienced people who know how to do what they're doing. Speaking of Teyonah Parris, her Monica Rambeau isn't exactly a popular enough character to headline an MCU movie, as she didn't exactly blow people away in WandaVision. Ditto for Iman Vellani, as Ms. Marvel and her Disney Plus show is the least watched of all the Marvel shows. So all 3 characters, actresses, and a director that either no one likes or haven't heard of, and you know what? That's a recipe for disaster. Feige decides to put all 3 characters together as a way to entice his MCU audience. Feige's only hope now is that the MCU fans have enough curiosity to see just how bad the flick will be. Otherwise, the Marvels could be smaller than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It doesn't have 2 Avengers movies to save it, and it doesn't seem to be tied up into the multiverse story. This is going to be a massive failure. The issue is going to be this: unless it's got great word of mouth and people are willing to see the movie more than once, it's not going to make money. This movie will lose money. Disney is still in a position, and this is a very strong position, where they can make up the numbers as they go. They can kind of decide what their expenses are. They can't make up what their revenues are, but they can say that the films have a life on streaming, have a life on some of their other platforms, because remember, they own ABC, they own cable channels. They can kind of fudge the numbers a bit and make it seem like the movies have more of a future than they actually do. They've burned a lot of their credibility with the fans, but they haven't yet blown all of their credibility with their accounting principles. So they can still do funny things with their accounting to make things look like they're more successful than they are. That won't last forever, but it will last at least until Bob Iger is gone. I'm just being realistic about it. Marvel is not going to be sold. Lucasfilm is not going to be sold. I do think they're going to merge the 2 entities together because there's no reason for them to have more than one film studio when Lucasfilm isn't even producing movies and it's got a lot of extra expense. We'll see what happens with that. I did a video about that recently, but Bob Iger is going to be able to consolidate their expenses, cut their overhead, and still fake the numbers for at least a couple of years. Now, Ron DeSantis has been fighting with Disney over their presence in Walt Disney World. Disney did a few things that were kind of cute with trying to maintain control of the Reedy Creek District where they operate Walt Disney World. They're not going to get away with this. Now, DeSantis should have been able to tie this up already. I'm just being honest about this. He made a mess. He let them kind of get a loophole through, but the loophole really isn't legitimate. Bob Iger is concerned. Bob Iger has lobbyists, which are basically paid advocates like attorneys, trying to get DeSantis to back off on Disney. I do think that Bob Iger overplayed his hand here because as important as Disney is to the state of Florida, what Disney has tried to do by asserting that they are their own government, they can do whatever they want to do, and because they're a big employer, the entire state of Florida has to just go along with whatever Disney says with their progressive and social agenda. It's asking too much. And the funny thing is Bob Iger, like many people, have written off Trump, and they think that DeSantis is not going to want to risk his presidential ambitions. There's very little chance of DeSantis being able to be a viable candidate as president. If Trump doesn't decide to step down, DeSantis has no opportunity. Whoever Trump endorses, if he was to decide to not run for president, is whoever is going to be the important GOP nominee. But I don't think Bob Iger understands that. A lot of people have that Trump derangement syndrome. So they kind of think like, oh, okay, well, DeSantis won't be able to go head to head with Disney. DeSantis is probably not going to give up on what's going on with Disney. Disney can hire all the lobbyists they want to hire. DeSantis is not a super sharp guy. He's not a street fighter. He doesn't understand how to get Disney to capitulate. So they're going to fight back and forth. He's a little bit inefficient with this whole process, but I don't see Disney winning in this situation. There's no way that a private company is going to be able to go up against the state governor and the state legislature and dictate terms to the state. Disney is not really its own government. They don't have their own army. They're going to lose in this fight as long as DeSantis doesn't give up. And he has really no reason to give up. If DeSantis ever decides to not compete with Trump, which would be very sensible for DeSantis, Disney is going to have a lot of problems as a result of this. It's just that at the moment, DeSantis is spread very, very thin. Here's another interesting article. The Star Wars franchise is really falling apart over at Disney. The Mandalorian Nielsen ratings have collapsed. Fans are turning off the show following one of its lowest rated episodes. Following the week 3's big bump, now the Mandalorian Nielsen ratings collapsed for episode 4 of season 3, which aired during the week of March 20th through the 26th. It seems to be pretty much like they had said on Comic Book News that the fans are not binge watching the show and aren't necessarily tuning in every week as part of their must-see TV programming. Fans have been tuning out after The Convert. Episode 3 of season 3 is The Convert, which prior to the recent Jack Black episode is The Mandalorian's lowest rated episode on IMDb, so it appears as if fans turned off The Mandalorian following The Convert, an episode a lot of fans didn't seem to like. So what seems to be going on is the show has lost its luster as season 3 is nowhere near as good as seasons 1 and 2, so fans aren't watching new episodes right away and figure they can watch the episodes whenever they want to. Basically, this means this is kind of the end of The Mandalorian. The ratings are trending down. This is what happens when they just don't focus on giving fans what they want. What could be their possible focus if they're not focusing on what their customers want? What kind of a business could be successful if they ignore their customers? How do you know what you're making is good unless your customers perceive it as good? This is something they're going to get away with it for a little bit longer. Bob Iger will be able to leave this company in whatever it's going to be, approximately a year and a half, with the company basically still intact if he does a lot of additional consolidation and a lot of additional layoffs. The new CEO of Disney will have to make changes that at least connect the franchises and the brands with what the fans want. This is really unbelievable mismanagement, but again, nothing comes above their progressive agenda. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Did you realize The Mandalorian was kind of falling apart in terms of ratings and in terms of creating interest in the series? Did you dislike the trailer for the Marvels because you're a troll, or did you dislike it because it just wasn't good? It's just not something that you like. Do you think that Ron DeSantis will eventually be able to use the powers of the state of Florida, backed up by the legislature, to get Disney under control? Because, you know, I certainly think that he should be able to do that. It can't be that complicated. Disney can't really operate as its own government without the permission of the state. Regardless of what their little last-minute tricks seem to be, can you imagine that they're going to allow Disney to do whatever it wants without the permission of the government and the people of Florida? I don't think they're going to be able to do that. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your comments. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.